year on year, the government goes and pumps new money into the economy. They give it big, long, interesting names like quantitative easing, but actually what it really means is they just create loads more new money, creating it out of a debt, and the hope is that it'll filter down into the economy. The reality is something quite different. So what happens is there's loads of new pounds in the economy, and that means that your pound is now, because there's so many more of them, it's got less value. It's not going to buy as much. An obvious example of that is in house prices. When my parents bought their house, 30 odd years ago, and they paid, £12,000 for a 4-bedroom house, that if you were to try and sell it today, it would reach north of around £350,000. But the actual asset itself hasn't changed. It's not even had a new roof put on it. Okay, so the actual asset itself has just simply inflated in this bubble. But it now means that in order to buy that house, you have to mortgage yourself for 20 times the value that it was some time ago. And that same force is occurring with everything. Year on year, prices do not go down, they go up. The economy of the status quo is failing. Economic collapses happen approximately every 15 to 20 years with incredible regularity. And what happens is people basically lose their pensions, they lose their livelihoods, entire industries collapse. And year on year, at the same time, the quality and availability of services goes down as well. So where we are right now is that the monetary system is so utterly debt-ridden, it is effectively impossible to get out of it. And after the last collapse, where globally people lost everything, pensions, savings, investments, all went. And they were effectively stolen by the banks because the banks have no liquidity. What happened was an anonymous hacker or group of hackers, we don't really know, released something called Bitcoin onto the world. And Bitcoin was the first cryptocurrency. And basically what it did is it created a way of storing value, of having a currency which was not controlled by the central banks or the government or any corporation or company. In fact, the people that owned Bitcoin, the people that bought Bitcoins and traded Bitcoins, they owned it. They were the ones that decided what happened with it. When something needed to occur with Bitcoin, the only people who get a say in it are the people that have Bitcoins, that have invested in them. And they're the ones that use a pure form of democracy to decide what happens. Now, when Bitcoin was first released, it was worth pennies. Within its first year, it was trading at around $3. Today, less than 8 years later, it's trading at around $1,500. That's about £1,150 today. And its value continues to go up and up and up and up. Because as more and more people start using it, it actually gains value, not loses it. And one of the reasons that it gains value is that instead of continuously dumping new money onto the system in an infinite way, Bitcoin's incredibly clever. Only a certain amount of new Bitcoin will ever be released at a time, and only 21 million Bitcoins will ever be minted. That gives it a real store of value, and over the next 100 or so years, as Bitcoins continue to be what's called mined, created, they will be created at a slower and slower and slower rate. And the effect of that is that you actually have a deflationary currency. And what that means is that the value of the Bitcoin keeps growing compared to the value of the inflationary currencies like the pounds, like the dollar, like the yen, and like all of the other global currencies.